We are here with Ana Digo. Thank you very much for your time, Ana. You have done a lot for the organizing local farmers movements in Europe. Do you want to share a little bit about who you are and your journey?
So I'm the co-founder and president of the Spanish Association of Regenerative Agriculture. And we actually call it Iberian because we work in Spain and Portugal. So for the last 15 years, we've been supporting farmers by bringing top training to them and supporting local agents of change, which are mainly farmers and the people who advise them, into more regenerative ways of growing food. And we've been doing those trainings, bringing these trainers, organizing lots of events, literally like almost 1,000 events over the last 15 years, bringing people together around the concept of food, how we can grow it more sustainably and just beyond sustainable, more regeneratively. And that has led to a whole movement that is really vibrant in Spain and Portugal and connecting with other countries in Europe and being part as well of the creation of a European Alliance of Regenerative Agriculture, which I'm very honored to serve from a role of community care and facilitation of internal processes. And that alliance is also taking the voice of these farmers from all these 20 different countries into Brussels, into decision-making spaces, into the corporate world as well, so that these voices are heard there too.
What triggered your passion? What started this movement? What was it that gave you the kind of conviction to go all in for this?
So I love nature since I was a little girl, thanks to my parents, and I always wanted to contribute. And I realized over time that actually the best way we can contribute is by changing the way we produce our food. And that means that we change the way we relate to nature and we nurture her and care for her. And also it changes the way we eat and makes it healthy. So my motivation is a holistic health of soil, plants, animals, people, and also emotional health, spiritual health, social, community health. So all of that is what moves me.
And what are your main concerns right now? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah. Are we doing enough fast enough? There is a growing movement of regenerative agriculture, and there's a growing concern in people, in society, about health and about better food. So this needs to connect much more and much faster on the one hand. And we have social networks and we have all these tools that we can use to do that. So people nowadays can actually find their local producers and find out more about how that food is produced, ask the right questions so that they can be buying stuff that's going to heal them and heal the planet at the same time. Now that all this work has been done, agro-industry comes in and says, oh, this is an interesting concept, regenerative agriculture, and it's got people excited. So they start to want to direct the narrative and basically do greenwashing, which is to say it's something, but then bring in business as usual behind that label. This is a concern because we could lose the depth of the real meaning of regenerative agriculture, which is about healing soil, plants, nature, and also society and also economies, but for the people, for the benefit of the people. So the summary of regenerative agriculture is agriculture or farming for life, in favor of life. So we can't have companies who are selling the usual products that are actually biocides. We can't have them setting the narrative. So we need to recover, or we need to just keep hold of the word regenerative because it does what it says on the box. It brings back to life soil, plants, society. So we need to really know that that's what it is and be able to educate the people.
And how do you do this through the work that you do?
So a couple of years ago, we decided to take the bull by the horns and have a whole process around Spain and Portugal with the main stakeholders and key actors in the pioneering movement of real regenerative agriculture in the hands of farmers. So we got all those stakeholders involved, with the farmers having the last word, and defined a set of criteria and a definition of what is regenerative agriculture for us in this part of the world. And this is a very high level criteria. It starts off by not using using chemicals that kill life. And then it goes on to talk about animal husbandry and how to graze the animals on the land. It also talks about economy, about society, about health. So these principles have allowed us to create a map, which is on our website, where there's 80 farms already that practice these principles. And also we're now this year really working hard to visit all the regions in Spain and Portugal, visit candidate farms with technicians who can help them along the journey of learning, because regenerative is a journey. It's not a final state. It's not an end. It's a journey for your whole life. So wherever you are on that journey, you will do better if you can connect with like-minded farmers. You can learn from each other. This is what we do, is help farmers learn from each other. They have the solutions. We just need to create the spaces and the places where they can come together and learn together. And so these regional tours we're doing this year are really an opportunity for farmers to get individual support from a specialist technician and the local community to come together around those farmers, to exchange where they're at, learn from each other, see what their needs are, how can we fulfill those needs, inviting local stakeholders that are perhaps politicians, agricultural schools, other stakeholders in the local ecosystem. And also we finalize it with a great meal with a fantastic chef from Cocina Regenerativa who works with those farmers and who makes that produce then be looking and tasting amazing on the plate. And we celebrate the work of these farmers and we thank them for their work by bringing everyone around the table for further discussion, which, as we know, around the table with a few wines, it's a wonderful way to create connection and just think and dream higher things. And that's how we bring together the people to just help and just support everyone in flourishing.
And surely not everyone can become a farmer, and you found your way to support farmers that are really making a difference. But what advice do you have to the general public? What can people do in their personal capacity, but also in their professional capacity? What can we do to support this transformative movement?
Well, in my case, I'm not a farmer. I'm a city girl, and so I'm an office person, you can see it in my hands. But I have a role to play to support farmers. And there's so many jobs that are needed to support this transition that anyone can find a job supporting. Rather than find a job, it's like create your own job. How can you support this transition into a healthy world? Whether it's on an emotional level, a spiritual level, a peace level, whatever it is that you can do towards that new world, that new paradigm we want to work towards, you can find your place, whatever it is that you do professionally. So that's one thing. If you want to dedicate yourself to this kind of thing, or some of your time, there's plenty that you can do professionally, or also as a volunteer supporting farms. And then one thing we all do every day is to eat. So it's about asking yourself the question, what am I eating and where's that coming from? So go and find your local farmers, find out about your local organic movement, ask them, and so how's your soil, and do you know about this, and have you heard about how to do this, and connect people with each other, and especially choose what you buy carefully. It's not about stopping eating meat. It's about eating less meat that's much better quality meat and that is being husbanded in such a way that it's actually improving nature. And you can do this. In fact, herbivores are part of the food chain, and they're an essential part because they're the ones that have legs, can eat vegetables, just grasses, and turn them into highly complex protein. So we need to understand that whole food chain from a nutritional point of view, to understand that grass-fed, 100% grass-fed animals that are pastured on the land are 5 times healthier for you than anything else that you can eat, really. And the general food that people are finding in supermarkets is basically toxic. It's toxic for you and it's toxic for the system. So it's about thinking about, what do I want to do? Do I want to be toxic to myself and to the system, or do I want to do it differently? And the good news is you can. Nowadays you really can. You can find that kind of food.
There's an interesting example with meat and omega-6, and there's some research coming out recently which I thought was just really interesting. Do you want to share quickly about this?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. There's a study that has been done with meat produced in Spain and Portugal in 3 different ways. One is conventional, so using feed. The animals go out very little, if at all, and they're just fed with feed, which comes from conventional soy and from all kinds of other prime materials that in turn are deforesting in the Amazon. So there's a whole chain there of where that feed is coming from, and that feed comes to the animal and it eats it. So these animals, conventionally fed, let's say, compared to organically fed animals, where they may be getting some straw, some grass, some feed, and whatever feed they're getting, it's organic. So it hasn't been produced with chemicals or GMs, etc. So it's already not toxic. And then compared to 100% grass-fed, pastured beef. So in those 3 cases, what has resulted is that the ratio of omega-6, omega-3 is established by the UN as the healthy ratio is 4.5 or less. So conventional is at 12, 11, 13. So 3 times what it should be, that ratio. Whereas organic is at 8, 9. It's better, but it's still double. Why? Because the animals are eating feed. And herbivores are not made to eat feed, they're made to eat grass. So when you compare it to the 100% grass-fed, these animals are at 2, 1.8, 2.1. So double better than what the UN says or the FAO says, which basically summarizes into grass-fed, pastured meat is 5 times better for your health than the conventional meat that you find in supermarkets. And that's where our personal health comes from. And when you have better personal health, you can then, your mind will work better, you can flourish better in the world. So it really is revolutionary to eat healthy food. It's not just about you, it's about what you can then contribute to your family and to the world.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Ana. That is so interesting to learn, and I'm sure more and more of this research is going to come out that will help us educate ourselves on our choices that we make, breakfast, lunch, dinner, every day. The choices that you make in these moments make all the difference. And thank you so much for working tirelessly to help us all understand this ecosystem better.
Thank you.